Good evening, everybody. You're all very welcome from us as well. I'm absolutely thrilled to be doing this program tonight because there's a certain portrait of 4 royal musicians in Denmark that I've been looking at for the last 20 years thinking, I'd like to make the soundtrack for that portrait. So tonight's our chance with my wonderful colleagues who've come from abroad to join me. The first piece we're going to play is Seacha Tuairim Cormac, and I'm pronouncing it in an Irish way because I suspect it's a sort of corrupted Irish title. So we're starting off, the Cormac in question was an early Irish harper who worked not in Denmark, but in London. So, but the William Braid, who set this piece, was an English viol player who worked in Copenhagen. And you can see on the front of your program, he may be the person who's playing the viol. It's either him or Thomas Simpson playing the viol. And alas, it's not in colour. We really intended you to have a colour image on this program because you'd see he's wearing the most amazing scarlet tights and really beautiful shoes. So William Braid is clearly he's a real fashion icon. So we'll start with him, and of course you'll hear a lot of John Dowland in the concert this evening. John Dowland is, of course, the English lute song and lute composer par excellence in the Renaissance period. Alas, Queen Elizabeth I was not fond of him. She would never give him a job. And so he had to go abroad to find work. So he found himself at the court of Christian IV in Denmark as well, along with the Irish harper who's portrayed, Darby Scott, and a flute player and a Renaissance lute player. So I give you both this evening. So we'll set off with a Cormac piece, and a piece that Christian IV undoubtedly had John Dowland and his friends play a lot, the King of Denmark's Galliard. as I mentioned, the portrait of these four royal musicians in the 1620s at the court of Christian IV in Denmark had quite an exotic member, a few exotic members, Englishmen and an Irish harper. And you think, what were they doing in Copenhagen at Christian's court? Well, of course, Christian's sister, Anne of Denmark, had married the King of England, as you do. So she had married James I, and she lived in London. And so, of course, there was traffic back and forth between London and Copenhagen, between the two courts. So I assume that Darby Scott had come in through his Anglo connections in London. But of course, we know what William Braid was composing. We know generally, and we'll give you a sense of Italian music and Danish music at the period. But what would an Irish harper have been playing at that court? So of course he's playing in consort with the other musicians, and that's the sound that I really wanted to hear for myself and for other people. But what would he have known when he left Ireland? His last name might give us a clue, because his name was Darby Scott, and there was a dynasty of harpers. There are 4 Scott harpers that we know of: John Scott, Harry Scott, Darby Scott, and the man who was called Eamon Albanoch, Edward Scott. So I can't play you any music that I can say is composed by Darby Scott, but I can play you some music that was composed by John Scott, who is perhaps a brother. Maybe they're cousins, maybe they're brothers. We don't quite know the relationship between all the Scots. So I'll play you the earliest datable piece of Irish music that I know, which is from about the year 1600, Cua Crina on Albanig. Albanig is the Irish word for Scot, so it's the mournful lamentation of the Scot, which he composed for somebody who lived about 40 minutes west of here, Thomas Purcell, the Baron of Lochmoe in Tipperary. And before that, I'll play presumably a late medieval tuning prelude that might have gone before the lamentation.